Me wet the bed until I was 19 years old. Now, if he'd have told me that when I was a little kid, I'd have been thrilled. I would have. Because when you're a little guy and you wet the bed, you don't think anybody in the world wets the bed except you. You think you're the only one.
This comes out of a personal experience.
Oh, sure. I was a bedwetter. He's looking like he's worried about the couch.
No.
Well, Horowitz, I'm glad you could find the time to join us.
All right, Coach.
Come on, throw it. Hey, Horowitz! Come on! We haven't got all day.
What are you, Mighty Mouse? Sorry about that, Coach. Hope I didn't wreck it. I'll get it.
That is one hell of a toss.
Your new movie, Sam's Son, it's kind of based loosely or quite a bit on your own life?
Very much on my own life. I had this weird thing when I was a kid that the longer my hair got, the stronger I got. I thought
because
that
of
I was
Samson
Samson.
or something?
Yeah.
I came out to California when I was 17 years old. I had a scholarship at the University of Southern California. I was a javelin thrower, and I really felt that the rest of my life was planned. I'd spend 4 years in college and then join the service and throw the javelin in the service, maybe win the Olympics. And then I hurt my arm, and I had kind of a bad time at the school after that because I couldn't compete, and I wasn't treated quite as well as I thought I should be, and I finally quit school and got a job in a warehouse. And while I was working there, a fellow I was unloading freight cars with had a scene to do at a studio. And I thought, why not? I'll give it a shot. And it was a scene from Home of the Brave, and he gave me the part of the young Jewish soldier. It was the really emotional part in the show, because he was kind of afraid of it. And it was the first time I'd ever tried anything like that, and I suddenly realized that it was a great release for me. I could cry when I was someone else and get a lot of things out of my system that I couldn't get out on my own. And one of the things I found out pretty early was that wanting to be an actor and getting a job were two entirely different things. I spent a lot of time in parking lots waiting for producers and agents to come out of their office, because if you don't have an agent, you're not a member of SAG, you can't get an appointment a lot of times. So I'd wait for them in a parking lot and do the buck and wing and whistle through my teeth and audition for them on the way to their cars. And finally, a gentleman named Jerry Stagg gave me my first chance. I had the lead on a show called Telephone Time.
Soft like the fur of a cub. The way he turns from the light. Who is he?
Perhaps an idiot peasant?
Good. So good.
Beautiful is the word, Casper.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Little person. Little.
That is a child.
Child?
We were all little children once, like her.
Not Casper.
Yes, even you.
No.
Of course, in your darkness, how could you know that your body was growing? With what could you compare yourself? That is a flower, a rose.
A rose. Beautiful.
That is a thorn. Often with beauty, there is a little pain.
From Decatur, Illinois, Kid Lombard.
Come on, take him out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Hey, Jeff, where you been? I've been looking all over for you. Some people are waiting outside. They're going to throw a big party for you.
You hear that? You hear that? A big party. Big party for the champ. You're coming too, sis. No, kid. Tonight is your night.
¿Sabes cuánto cuesta este departamento?
Don't you like me?
Gosh almighty, I just didn't know there was a girl as pretty as you in the whole country. I mean, you're the prettiest girl I ever seen. And you're so soft. And you talk like a bird song. And you smell good, too.
Oh, just love the way you talk.
Hi, I'm Steve Bentley. Oh, that's too bad. I'm president of the Rangers. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'm looking for some real action. We got most of the football players. No, a different kind of action. Okay, see you around. Why not?
How old were you when you first started? Bonanza was not the first show you've ever done.
Oh, no, I did a lot of, when I started television, there were 39 westerns on the air when I
Were you
came
in the
to
days when
television.
Gunsmoke started and all of them?
Oh, yeah, we had Gunsmoke and Wyatt Earp and Have Gun Will Travel.
Yeah,
Wanted Dead or Alive. I did the pilot for Wanted Dead or Alive with Steve McQueen.
Come on in. Don't be bashful. Shut the door.
Why are you doing this? All he wants is something to eat.
Sorry coming up, Randall.
I didn't make a secret of it.
Do you know him?
He's the guy that shot me.
No.
Like I didn't do a very good job.
You see, he admits it.
Tell her why.
Shut up.
Tell her. Now, you and your brother cut a man in half.
I told you to shut up.
These guys used to live this stuff. Used to live it. You know, a guy like Peter Brecht from Black Saddle would go on the set of Wanted Dead or Alive with Steve McQueen over by the coffee machine. They tell me you're pretty fast. McQueen would look up. Fast enough. Commissary, 1 o'clock.
The Rifleman.
Get inside, Mark. Go on, son.
You know what's wrong with you? You want to quit that bunch, but you're afraid to admit it to yourself. You know why? Because you've had a taste of regular life and you like it. You met a girl you might be in love with. And you've probably even got a notion about settling down.
Stuff is for fools, not for me. Even if I wanted to settle down, and I'm not saying that I do. What could I do about it?
That's easy, son. When they come for you, just tell them you're through.
That's easy. Well, you don't know my brother.
Did you ever make a pilot for television that was a real stinker?
Oh, yes.
I mean, a bomb. I've never talked about it.
I'm so glad you asked.
You made a show that you thought was great.
I made a show years ago before Bonanza. It was a half-hour show, and I played a character named Johnny Risk.
Johnny Risk? That's a typical television name.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Did this ever see the light of television at all?
No.
What do you have against these people?
Nothing. They merely have property that we should have had in the first place.
And they worked hard for it. They fought freezing temperatures, hunger, wild animals. They've got wives and children.
But what about the rest of us? We've gone through a lot up in this miserable country. Anyway, please, spare me the sermon.
You talk to me about sermons.
Well, seems to me a day never went by when I was a kid that you weren't lecturing me on decency and integrity and morality.
And I'm happy to see that my lectures bore fruit. Nobody can deny that you're a decent, well-liked, and completely respectable human being.
You volunteered to go on a mission with me?
It's my one chance. I'm going to prove to you and through you to the entire crew that I'm not yellow.
In my book, you're still a murdering, yellow-gutted louse.
I said I'd go around you. Or through you. Or over you. Look, Doc. I don't want to do this. But either you take care of that boy, or so help me God, I'm going to kill you.
Help me, Doctor, please! I know they're going to catch me, but don't let anyone see me like that. Please, Doctor, help me!
Michael Landon in a powerful performance as the boy possessed.
Remember how wonderful it was when you sprang and suddenly dug in with your fangs, a soft throat, the gush of warm blood?
No! No!
Nothing you've ever seen has such blood-chilling savagery. Nothing you've ever conceived packs such a spine-tingling jolt. This high school boy, a teenage werewolf, a constant threat of claw-ripping attack to everyone.
That string of parts was about to lead into the part that would make my father famous, Little Joe in Bonanza. And by the time his career was over, he had written 107 hours, directed 208, produced 330, and starred in over 800 hours of television productions.
Yep, that's a fact.
I've got a flair for women everywhere. Bonanza! Bonanza! And when I call on Eddie Got It All, she's gonna welcome
Too much
me.
noise. Can't sleep.
I'm not afraid of any pretty maid. Bonanza! Bonanza! When I give a kiss to any pretty miss, he'll learn a lot from me.
When I played Candy, the foreman on the Cartwright Ranch. In 1959, America was introduced to two things that changed the viewing habits of tens of millions of people across the country. The first was the advent of color television. The second was a program called Bonanza. One wouldn't have existed without the other.
Well, I think the early days of Bonanza, it's a known fact, NBC wanted to show in color. RCA wanted to show in color, I should say. And NBC was the only show on NBC that was in color. And we spent hours lighting every scene. We had 15, 16 electricians every day to make sure the color balance was correct. We had people all at the network that used to take all kinds of pains in getting the right quality going out on the air. And I think the first 2 years, it stayed on the air solely because of the color quality that they had.
Boy, I never knew a couple dozen sheep could be so ornery. Almost as bad as people. Hey, what are you looking at now? Hey, that's what I call a right pretty girl. Hey, look over here. That fella right there, that's that handsome Joe Cartwright. The guy that's always watching me when I'm shaving. I just can't seem to get rid of him.
I was the first writer to become a television producer. The show was a little show called The Restless Gun with an actor named John Payne. And Michael had been in the pilot.
Look what just rode into town.
While I was doing that, I got the idea for Bonanza. I called Michael. He came in, and there he was. You know, the first time I really had met him in the flesh. He was a most attractive young man.
We got a little game. We like to play with strangers that come into town.
Oh?
Yeah. You see, You and me drawing each other. And the man that draws the fastest gets to shoot a cartridge off the other man's head at 50 paces.
That sounds a mite dangerous.
Oh, you mean you don't want to play?
Do you know when we do that shot where the four of... We used a title shot at one point where the four of us rode up at a full gallop and pulled up right in front of camera with a smile kind of like this.
Little macho type of head there.
Right. And that smile meant, oh,
What's the matter with you? Haven't you ever seen a lady before?
Oh, ma'am. I mean, not such a pretty one. Not in a long time.
You know, girls say they like poetry and music. But the men that really impress them are those of strength. Of courage.
I'm going to take this gun, and I'm going to walk through that barricade, and I'm going to walk down that street up to that mesa, and I'm going to kill as many of Matthew's men as I can before they kill me.
Of physical action.
Little Joe, the way Mike played him, was the hot-blooded little brother of the Cartwright clan. He was the one who most often got the girl.
Now, I can't speak real fancy like Shakespeare. And I don't agree with him.
Why not?
Well, first of all, I can't compare you to a summer's day. You're more like a day in spring. I could talk real fancy, and I could say that your eyes are like stars. And I could say that your mouth is like a rose. When I look at you, I just can't think of anything to say.
Am I beautiful?
You're very beautiful.
You must talk of love sometime. You really want me?
Oh, want you. I want you more than anything else in the world.
Tell me again, Joe. Say it again.
I love you. I love you more than anything else in the world. Tirzah, you can't go. Do you understand? I love you more than anything in my life. Of course, I'm not exactly Romeo.
You brute! Bully! Why, you mealy-mouthed, apple-headed, mangy renegade cousin to a second low! Come on. Come and get me. Come on.
You've got a lesson to learn.
I want to give you a chance to learn that lesson. Just leave that stand there. See, that's a very important beer glass. That beer glass is you. This one's me. See, now the idea is to see if you can spill my beer before I spill yours. Anytime you're ready, loudmouth. Oh, you would have died of a real bad case of slow.
Don't you turn away from me, Cartwright!
You killed my pa!
Sorry.
In our first season, 9 o'clock, we were #1. And that is not only because of color, but because of the excellence of the cast. And we remained #1, I think, for 5 or 6 years in a row. And through our entire 14 years, including the first 2 years, we were never out of the first 5 places. And we were #1, I think, more than any other show in the history of television.
Joseph, you do me a birthday favor?
Why, you just name it, Bob.
I'd like to hear one of my favorite songs, Shenandoah.
Well, here goes.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away. I'm bound away across the wide Missouri.
Did we ever play on this show the Japanese version of Bonanza? Have you ever seen an excerpt of it?
It's incredible.
It is hysterical.
綺麗にしといてびっくりさせるんだ。そんなことしないよ。
こんちきしょうやっほーちびすけさん、兄貴より先に嫁さんもらうのって大したやつだ。チャチャカチャ、チャチャカチャ。
Dan Blocker would get off a horse. Dan weighed, what, 260 pounds?
320 when
And
we
he'd
started.
come in and get off of the horse, and the Japanese
And the horse
actors
would go,
Then this big Dan Blocker, you'd hear,
yeah.
It was hysterical. All the dubbed-in Japanese.
Yeah. They had Hop Sing in the show would go, hello.
While most actors in television series were negotiating for higher fees and bigger trailers and star billing, Michael Landon was one of the first to ask for something else. He wanted to direct.
Morning, boys. Beautiful morning. Oh, you're awful quiet this morning. I figured you'd be happy to see me.
You're insane, Postley. You know that, don't you? You're insane, and you're trying to drive us insane. But it won't work. I feel sorry for you, John.
You're down there, and I'm up here. And you feel sorry for me. I'm free to go any place I want to.
No, you're not. You can't get away from here. You gotta keep coming back day after day, week after week. You're just as much a prisoner as we are. You'll never be free.
There was a scene that I was delighted that he wrote for me, in which Candy finally becomes unhinged in his prison, and James Whitmore, the heavy, tosses down dynamite.
From then on, Mike devoted his time and talents to writing. And as Ken said, he worked with John Hawkins, who was a great teacher, and Mike was a quick learner. I started out by saying that Mike was a brat. And after directing him in 63 Bonanzas, and then working for him as a director for 68 Little Houses and 22 Father Murphys, I found that one of the best, finest friends I'd ever had, the most talented people.
My great delight and surprise was at his naturalness, his ease, his understanding of so many aspects of things. And his great capacity not to let his own celebrity get in the way of what he was trying to do. You know, that's not always possible with a lot of people. But I thought The Wish was a strong piece. I thought it was ahead of its time. I thought it said quite a lot for Hollywood for its day.
Jesse, you get that wagon and start loading. Beth, you help him.
Papa, it's our home. We can't leave.
Jesse, you load that wagon, boy.
You want them to know they scared you off? You want them to know they scared you off?
Peruanos son portadores del virus del SIDA.
I thought you was a better man than that, Sam. I'm not just a man, I'm a black man. And don't you go thinking you know how I feel unless you're black, too. I love this farm. But I love my children more. I can plant corn again and make it grow. I can plant beans and make them grow. But I can't make my children grow again if they're dead. And that's why we're moving out of here. Sam, I can understand you're being scared, but there comes a time when a man's got to fight. And they ain't gonna hurt them kids, I promise you that. I ain't gonna let them. I promise you I won't let them. Thank you, boss. Thank you for taking care of old Sam and his children. Oh, Sam, I didn't mean it like... No, you're right, boss. Go ahead and take care of old Sam. Show his boys how the big white man always takes care of Papa, so that when they grow up, they won't forget that it's the white man who is the man.
I think it's easy to understand how Michael might have looked upon The Wish as an episode that satisfied him more deeply perhaps than all the others that he had done.
There was one very special relationship between Dan Blocker and Michael, which mirrored the brother relationship they portrayed on the screen.
It's very considerate of you to drive me, Mr. Cartwright.
Well, most people hereabouts just call me Little Joe.
Little Joe? Well, you're not that small.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's my brother Horst is that big.
Joe, this wagon's getting mighty heavy.
You gotta suffer a little bit to be champion.
You sure we're going about this the right way, Joe?
Oh, I'm positive. Please, let me do the thinking. All right, 25. How about it now? Come on! That's it. That's it. Very good. All right, let it down easy. Easy. Oh, I told you to be careful. You know I got a bad back.
Fella, are you letting your heart rule your pocketbook?
Well, Joe, money ain't everything, Dad. Burn it.
All right. Look, I didn't know when I went and parted with you that you were going to go squeamish on me. But let's not forget that I still have a little say. Half of these rabbits happen to be mine. And I am going to skin my half of the rabbits. Now, if you'll just step aside.
No, you ain't. You ain't skinning these rabbits, Joe.
Oh, yes, I am. Would you step? You're standing in front. Fat Gerby right there behind your head happens to be my Gerby. You're standing in front of my Gerby.
No, you ain't skinning these rabbits. Not today, you ain't, Joseph.
I'm skinning that Gerby. Now, I don't want to have to come through you.
I'd reconsider that, little brother.
Well, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, my brother, fast. Now, that Gerby right behind there is my rabbit. I'll cut you to ribbons. I'm gonna have to... I'm telling you, I'm gonna... That's my Gerby, and I'm gonna get to him. One way or the other, Brother Horse, I'm gonna get into one of these cages.
Look, come on now, let me out of here. Oh, Mike, come on. Let me out of here.
Don't you run away. Oh, I won't. Pa sent me to bring you home to supper.
Burn it. Dad, burn your ornery hide, little brother. Wait till I get my hand.
Hey, you be the bull. You be the bull.
I don't.
Well, come on, one of us got to be the bull, and you're bigger than I am.
You ready?
Okay.
Hey, bully! Hey, bully! Hey, bully! Hey, bully! Hey, bully!
Hey, Hall. Hey, Hall.
Enjoying yourself, little brother?
Having a heck of a time. You see the way I backed him down?
I sure did.
Isn't that beautiful?
I was real proud of you, little brother. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
When Dan passed away, Michael wrote a tribute episode called Forever.
So beautiful.
That's my favorite place. Brother Hoss and I used to come here when we were kids. Don't do anything special. We just sit and look at it. Used to call it our happy place.
I really loved him, didn't I?
I was 17. I must have run out that door 100 times. In later years, I moved to this house. I no longer ran out the door, for childhood had given way to young adulthood, and I had a child of my own. But I'll never forget that first house. It was like a real home to me, not make-believe. And Michael Landon was more than just my boss. He was like my father. The streets of Walnut Grove are covered with mustard meat. It's hard now to see where the buildings once stood, but for me, the memories are still very clear. There was the Mercantile, church, Nellie's restaurant, the ice house, and the road that led up to the mill.
I can remember Pa and Mr. Hanson, and how they walked and looked and talked, and how we wondered what they said.
Oh, you know, there's no hurry, Mr. Inglis. If I were in your boots, I would think on it and sleep on it.
Another thing about Mr. Hanson, my mind's made up.
Yeah?
I'll be in Walnut Grove tomorrow morning to sign the papers.
All right. I'll be at the mill.
I'll see you then.
Right.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Ingles family, as soon as you get done soaking your feet, we got a wagon to unload.
We're home.
We're home.
My favorite episode is The Lord is My Shepherd. I think it was because it was like working with my father.
No! No more. I surrender. I can't run another step.
Me neither.
Oh,
It was the best day ever, wasn't it, Pa?
oh that it was, that part.
I'll always remember it, won't you?
I'll always remember it.
I love you more than anything.
I love you.
I think that he was able to make me feel safe enough to show things that I wouldn't to anybody else. And that it was okay to let things out. It opens with the birth of a son for Ma and Pa. Pa really wanted a son. I am very jealous and feeling very neglected, and the baby gets sick, and we're asked to pray for him, and I don't.
You forgot the special one for Charles. Ma asked us to. I don't have to. Don't you even care about your own brother? Pa cares enough for all of us. But that's all he cares about anymore.
I don't pray for him to get well, and he dies. And, I blame myself. And in church one Sunday, I hear the Reverend Alden say, the closer you are to God, the more likely he is to listen. So I take that literally, and I climb a mountain looking for God to ask him to take me and give Pa back his son. And that's where I meet Jonathan, played by Ernie Borgnine.
Can't you speak, child?
Where am I?
Don't you know?
I'm not sure.
You're on my mountain. Jonathan's mountain.
At the end of the episode, where he and Victor have climbed the mountain looking for me, and they find me, and Ernie Borgnine says, go to him, child, go to him.
No, child.
Let me go.
No.
I don't want Pa to find me until God answers.
He has answered.
No, he hasn't.
He has answered. And he's made his decision. That's why he sent your Pa. He wants you to be with your Pa and your brother to be with him.
That isn't what I wanted. Pa wants a son.
No, child. That's what you thought he wanted. Only God knows best about these things. That's why he sent your Pa here. Because he knows that your Pa loves you and needs you. How else could your father have found you?
How can you be sure?
He told me, child. Go to him, Laura.
Why did you do it?
I thought you needed Charles more than me.
How could you think that?
I just did.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was my fault.
We just worked so well together. It was just so natural and so real. And I remember feeling really loved.
It was the two shows where I went blind, and I remember thinking that the season before, I think it was at the wrap party, the season before, And I actually was a nervous wreck, and I went up to him thinking that you're writing me out. Why are you doing this to me? You know, and he said, it'll be great. Missy, this is going to be great. You know, trust me. And he had been absolutely right. He said it was going to be great, and it was.
Now, I'd like you to make your goodbye as brief as possible.
I thought I could spend some time with Mary. My train doesn't leave until 4.
The time spent would only be painful for both of you. Adam, can I see you a minute?
Yes, sir.
Hey, nice room.
Pa. Pa, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, well, I can't stay very long. I got a chance to catch an earlier train. I thought I'd try to make it.
But I thought we'd spend the afternoon.
Well, I was going to, but then this earlier train came up. I took a look at the place. It's a fine place. You're in good hands. So, hey, I want to make that train. I better go. Give me a hug.
Pa, don't leave me here. Please don't leave me here.
I love you. I gotta go.
Don't leave me here, please.
First show that I did was Plague, and I was about 9 or 10, and I played a dying girl. I had plague, and my dad played the part of Mr. Ingalls, and he came in to talk to me, and I was the neighbor child, and I remember it was very special because it was the first time I ever got to act, and I remember we had to do the scene over again because while my dad was saying his lines, he got more emotional than he wanted to, as if I was his daughter instead of the neighbor's child. And so we had to do it over again.
Mr. Ingalls? My mom and Pa all right?
They're fine. Was that scene this morning? They wanted to send you a whole mess of cornbread, but I told them be a little while before you got your appetite back.
Feed a cold, starve a fever, Ma says.
Your Ma's right.
I wonder if I'm gonna die.
You're gonna be just fine.
I'm not scared. I know I'll go to heaven, especially when you die in church.
No more talk of dying, all right? Just get some sleep.
All right.
And I remember driving back in the car with him after a day's work and just feeling so proud. I think that was probably my most special memory of working with Dad.
Program back east. And after I initiated the program, I came back and wrote a 2-hour show with Matthew Laberto, who played Albert on the show. He was a wonderful young actor. Because I wanted to do a show to try to reach children, young kids, when you can still get something accomplished.